Peter McPherson. How'd I do?
You did great.
Not what you think when you look at it. McPherson. And Peter Weisgerber here with us from the Y. Together they have close to 70 years of experience. They are active members of the Hopkinton Chamber of Commerce. They have both run the Boston Marathon in support of the Y programs and services. Rick is the CEO of the Metrowest Y. Peter is the Chief Development Officer. And today they're going to take us through their vision for bringing a new branch of the Metrowest Y into our neighborhood, where we hope to build community and improve the quality of life for all of us. So we're very thankful for you to come and join us today. They're going to take us through a few slides. If you have some questions, we'd love for you to hold them to the end, where we'll have some time for Q&A and discussion and hang around and just chat with these guys. So, no further ado, Rick, yeah.
Oh, it's really a pleasure to be here this morning, I think it is still, with all of you. And I want to, hats off to Peter here for getting our technology to work.
A lot of help.
So that's pretty impressive. So what we're here to talk to you about today is really, we're here to just share a little bit about the Y, share some information with you. And the way it's going to go is I'm going to take us kind of on a look back to say, how did we get here so far? I'm just curious, with just a show of hands, have any of you had any experience with the YMCA at all? Oh, I see, I love that. Lots of experiences. So that's a good start. It's, I think almost everybody, it seems, has got some kind of a Y story, a connection that goes back somewhere, whether it's, and the Y's different to so many different people. It could be that's where you learned to swim, or you went to summer camp, or maybe, you have a child who's, has kids that went to the daycare at the Y, or something. There's always seems to be a story. One of the really important drivers of our Y is just really how committed to inclusion and being available to everybody in our community. So this slide really kind of speaks to that a little bit. There are, in the state of Massachusetts, there are 28 different independent YMCAs. The Metrowest YMCA is one of those 28. And if you look at the green and the pink here, that's our service area. So that's where our national offices said, okay, Metrowest YMCA, you take care of, primarily the green and the pink and the surrounding towns. But the green and the pink are really the heart of our service area. Way back in the Y actually started in Framingham in the 1800s. It's been around. Took a little bit of a break during the Depression, and it came back around 1960, where the community had a vision for a Y serving kids in summer camps. And so that started back in Framingham in 1960 and the program was growing. And right about 1963, a huge piece of property in Hopkinton on East Street that had been a camp for 50 years was going to have to close its doors. It was run by the Hayes family, and it was called Camp Bob White. And instead of it closing, the Y got involved, and the Hayes family, for a song, basically sold about 80 acres of property to the Y for, take a wild guess, in 1960. How much? Yeah, $6,000. Shortly after that, the Warren family donated another 40 acres. So it's 120 acres sitting right there in Hopkinton. And we've been running camps there now, our Y, for 60 years, but it's been a camp in Hopkinton for over 100. Pretty amazing, right? A lot of people don't even know it's there. It's amazing. So that was serving kids. But the board at the time said, all right, that was great, but now we need a full service Y with pools and gyms and places for adults and seniors and all of that kind of thing to happen. And a family from Framingham, who's heard of Fitz Insurance in Framingham? So it's been around for generations, Fitz Insurance. Well, a couple generations ago, the brothers who owned Fitz Insurance donated the piece of property to the Y at 280 Old Connecticut Path. And that was the beginning of that Y. And over time, it has grown and grown. And it started out probably 30,000 square feet. Now it's a 60,000 square foot beautiful facility. Right around 2019, in 2018, Peter and I went out and we did a feasibility study saying, what's next for the Metrowest Y? What do we need to focus on? And it came back with two real strong findings. One is we needed to do a capital campaign to make Framingham everything it could possibly be. It was getting a little tired. At the same time, we were asked to see if we couldn't find another piece of property for a second Y that would serve Hopkinton, Holliston, Ashland, Sherborne area. Because what we were hearing, and when you look at the zip codes of who uses Framingham, it's Framingham, Natick, and Sudbury, and Wayland, right? People from Hopkinton and Ashland and out this way just aren't making it into Framingham anymore. Back in the day, it was fine. It was a quick shot. There wasn't a lot of traffic. Populations were so much less. But now over time, it's really become not convenient enough at all. And not to mention, it is just not enough room for everybody over there now. So we went down this road to find a piece of property. And kind of long story short, right as we were finishing our project in Framingham, right at the end of 2019, we were getting ready to cut the ribbon and open the doors. We got a piece of land donated to the Y on Route 135, just as you're leaving Hopkinton. Do we have that slide that just kind of shows where that is? You're heading straight down 135. You leave Hopkinton, you pass the middle school, there's a Dunkin' Donuts down on the corner, and 12.5 acres behind that Dunkin' Donuts was donated to the Y.
So it's by the train station?
By the train station, yeah, Memorial Drive, on the way up to the train station. So you'll literally be able to, from that facility, you'll be able to look down and see 135 and the Boston Marathon zooming by. So that's really pretty amazing. So the land was donated. We were getting ready to open the brand new Framingham facility and COVID hit us, right? So we had to shut everything down in Framingham, put this project on hold, and just respond to the crisis related to COVID. So we had to literally shut the doors. The saddest thing ever. I'm in this building, 60,000 square feet, not a car in the parking lot, place is closed. And we're like, well, what are we going to do now? So 4 days later, we said, well, we can help here. And the state started looking for organizations to run emergency childcare. So our Y stepped up and said, okay, we can do that. And so we were offering emergency childcare to first responders from all over Metrowest and beyond. And it was frightening, by the way, doing that because no one knew what was happening. We also, as part of the renovation in Framingham, we put a commercial grade kitchen in there to feed our families that are involved in our programs, in early education and after school programs. We were making about 1,000 meals a week, before COVID hit. All of a sudden, the whole, this crisis really put a spotlight on how severe the food, getting food to families really was. And so we went from about 1,000 meals to our own kind of internal families that needed some support to 1,000 a day, all the way through COVID. It was insane. Like who would have thought that at Y now we have the director of food and nutrition at our Y, we have a director of food services who runs the kitchen. We've got an entire kitchen staff with refrigerated vehicles driving around all around Framingham and around the edges distributing food. So unbelievable. We also stepped in when we know all the schools closed, right, during COVID, and the kids had to go to school remotely. So that sounds like a good idea, but it turns out there are hundreds and thousands of kids that staying home to go to school just didn't work. What if both parents work? What if it's the home situation isn't great, and you're trying to be on a laptop and going to school all day? So the Y opened up, we had about 8 satellites all over in Hopkinton, Ashland, Framingham, at the Framingham branch, where kids would come to a space like this, where we had it set up like a classroom. They'd put in, log into their laptops, and they would log into their school, wherever it was. It was insane. At first, it was pure chaos, but then we got pretty good at it, and the kids really kind of enjoyed it, and they came to school at the Y on their laptop, got their snacks, their lunch, got to exercise. Anyway, long story short, it was pretty crazy. So we made it through COVID, thank God all of us did that. And life started to come back. Our Y at 280 Old Connecticut Path is back going strong. At a facility like that, just someone take a wild guess, how many members do you figure would belong to a place like the Y in Framingham? How many? Yeah, so, how many? 5,000. Yeah, that's a good guess. So it's more like 10,000 though. You know, we often hear, I often hear 1,000 Framinghams. And if we were, when we have a new YMCA serving this region, it will be similar. It will be the similar kind of size. You know, there'll be that many people. Our Y touches right now, on top of those 10,000, another 15,000 in just satellite programs, camps, you know, all of that kind of thing. So this region has just been reaching out to our Y is really the community. I think Barb said, you know, our vision for a Y. It's not our vision. It's really your vision. It's the community's vision, you know, is what we're just trying to help bring to the area. So what else? Again, long story short, about this time last year, we were getting ready to start a fundraiser, a capital campaign to raise the needed funds for this. What do you think it costs to build a 60,000 square foot building? It's kind of a lot. It's about $40 million, right? And so to make this happen, we know we're going to need to raise between 20 and 25 million, you know, where the rest could probably be financed. But that's a big nut, you know, to raise that kind of money. And so we pulled together a team of people from Hopkinton, Holliston, Ashland, Sherborne, real leaders, you know, with connections to resources in the community. And we were pulling this group together. We reached out, we were trying to get someone from the company MathWorks in Natick to serve on this committee. This woman politely declined serving on our cabinet, but said that they were ready to make a donation to help us get the whole thing started. So we said, okay, that'll work too. So Peter and I went. By the way, MathWorks is a wonderful company, and we've been building a relationship with them for 10 years now. So it's not like we just rolled in. So we've been building this relationship with MathWorks. They invited us in. They knew about the project, and we walked out of there with a lead gift for $2.5 million. So that was 1 year ago. And so we weren't even ready for that. So since that time, we've been building this campaign, getting people involved, and this really is the year that we're going to head out there and really do what we can to get this money raised. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Peter.
Yeah, so my name is Peter Weisgerber. I'm the Chief Development Officer for the Metrowest Y. As we were sharing earlier, I've been involved with YMCAs for about 27 years. My daughter went to YMCA child care programming and to after-school care programming, went to summer camps. She became a camp counselor. I think she's 4 years old, but she's 27. She lives down in Washington, D.C. now, and still has such fond memories, both of her teachers at the YMCA and those who taught her how to swim and those who were such a critical part of her life. And I was thinking that was kind of my longest connection to the Y, but we're actually helping my mom clean out my childhood home that's been in our house since 1829, in our family since 1829, and I found a medal that was from 1918. That was my grandfather who ran a YMCA road race. So now my connection to the Y goes back to 1918 that I'm holding on to. But it's really been an exciting project to be a part of. And just being in this building, there's a Y connection that I don't know if folks know about. But in the mid-1800s, the Metrowest YMCA donated a collection of books that became the Hopkinton Public Library. So we're supposed to be here. It all fits. And I love history and I love all the connections, and to have been running our camp for 60 years is fantastic. So now we're in this position where we have an opportunity to bring a new full-service YMCA to this region. So Rick talked about the process that kind of brought us to this point. We went out to the community pre-pandemic with surveys, and we received about 2,000 surveys back from families as to what they would like to see, individuals, what they'd like to see in a new YMCA. Because we think about that gym and swim concept of a Y, but it's really so much more. And as we reached out, these were the key areas that came back. Early childhood education, childcare continues to be such a huge need in this area and across our country. Certainly aquatics. Water safety is so important, and we continue each year to face preventable tragedies that we've got to teach all kids how to swim. So it is a critical part of the work that we do. But also, the Y has stepped into a different world over the last probably 5 to 10 years called evidence-based health initiatives. So we have programs for folks coming off of cancer treatment, a program called Live Strong at the YMCA, where folks at no cost come to our Y, they become members, and they're able to go through a program that's proven to help physically, that's socially, mentally, with folks coming off of that treatment. The same with Parkinson's. We started about 14 years ago a program with one individual who had Parkinson's and was facing the challenges of living with Parkinson's. Now we have a full program with 40 individuals. So, and that's offered at no cost to folks. So if you know people who are facing certain challenges, reach out to us, because those programs really do make a difference. And that type of programming is what we're looking to bring to the region. So Rick mentioned that we came out of the pandemic. Our programs are running strong. Things are going well. We had gone to MathWorks. We had this great lead gift to kick things off. In your way, I'm sorry. To kick things off, and then we said, all right, we really need a great group of folks that represent all of the communities that are going to be served. Because the truth is, if this is going to be successful, this has to be Hopkinton's Y, Holliston's Y, Sherburne's Y, Ashland's Y. This is going to be an amazing regional facility. So these are the folks that we've brought together to kick things off. Tom Caron, who some of you may recognize, he's a Red Sox announcer, lives in Framingham. He's going to be our co-chair, along with Vizzy Tilak, who's an artist, a journalist who lives in Ashland. We've got a number of folks on there from Hopkinton as well. Our love for Hopkinton certainly continues on, and Rick and I have been involved with the Hop Chamber for a long time. They do incredible work. So we're excited to be able to have a facility that's not going to replace the 120 acres in Hopkinton, but it's going to supplement that. So we are committed to keeping that space a camp, unless you all want to take 120 acres and do something else, but I don't think so. We love it. It's open space. It's one of the few places where we can get kids outside, away from technology, away from phones, and just being kids and learning what it means just to have fun and be together. So this group has come together. They've started meeting. We are in the early stages of a campaign to, as Rick said, raise $20 to $25 million. That infrastructure is important as we put it together, but not only do we have these great volunteers, we have a group of Y community champions as well that are helping us out. State Senate President Spilka, as you know, lives in the next town over. She's so excited about this project and has been very involved with this project, along with our state representatives. Gene O'Keefe, we mentioned from MathWorks and their role stepping up, but we also have this really cool, as you all do living in Hopkinton, connection to the marathon. So we've been working for the last 10 years to build a relationship with the Hoyts. And I know some of you know we lost both Rick and Dick Hoyt over the last few years, but they were instrumental in our vision for a new regional Y. In fact, we had honored Dick and Rick with our first marathon community breakfast we had 8 years ago. And ever since that time, they had stayed involved, helping us decide who we were going to honor next. part of that process was to talk to them about this new regional Y. And Rick was so excited that he spent about 2 weeks putting together a presentation, and Rick could only communicate through his computer. So he put this presentation together sharing what he wanted to see in the YMCA, which was just so incredibly meaningful. He wanted a lot of pools, I'll say that, and a lot of different parking lots too. But so Rick's brother Russ has now taken that torch and is carrying that forward, and we're really excited about what this facility can mean to folks of all abilities. And what we want to make sure is that spirit that they have of yes you can, that spirit is captured, that when you walk into this YMCA, it will be the most welcoming place that you can find, and it will be available and welcome to people of all abilities. We had gone out to the community and redid our feasibility study that we did before the pandemic, and it came back pretty much the same with 2 exceptions. Those 2 additions were, we need to create more places in our community where people of all backgrounds can come together. There are so many demographic silos that we have in this region. We need to bring folks together. And that was a key aspect of this facility, really being a place that can do that. And the other was the mental health of children. We're really seeing a crisis with mental health. And think about the toll the last 3.5, 4 years, time is crazy, took on all of us. When you see how the toll it took on kids and how kids are acting out in different ways, and whether they were going through that time period as preschoolers or as teens or as high school kids or college kids, it just really had a huge impact. We actually have social workers on our staff now, which I never would have imagined 10 years ago, helping us work with kids and families to give them every chance to succeed. So our partnerships with the school systems are really important, and we have those ongoing conversations with educators. We're so proud to be an after-school provider of care here in Hopkinton, and working with the teachers in the schools in Hopkinton, which are amazing, amazing schools, which I don't have to share that with you, you know that. So we went back out to the community. We came back with all of these components of the Y that are going to serve the community for literally generations to come. And the question that we get the most, can you guess it? When? When? So thanks for coming. We're making great progress. So this group is working on our fundraising effort. Right now, we're really trying to connect the dots with key folks. We have a pyramid of gifts that we know if we can raise these funds, this facility will be here for generations. Our timeline right now, and I have my boss behind me, so I'm careful what I say. Our timeline right now is, our plan is to break ground, our hope is to break ground in 2025, which would be next year we'd start construction. So it's not that far away, although...
We have steps, right?
Yes, we actually have steps. Do you want to go? So...
Duncan and turn left towards the train station. It's just immediately on your right. There's these granite steps.
There's granite steps that go up to a path into the woods that bring you in. So you can see here the pyramid and what it takes to raise $20 million is a lot, but there's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. And as Barb was sharing, at the entrance to the site, Jim Stuckey, who's a board member of the Y, who is a landscape architect, lives in Holliston, he had some granite steps left over from a project and donated those. So we stretch every dollar as far as we can. But those steps go up to a path. That path leads to where the new Y will be, which is incredibly exciting. Do you want us to go to next steps?
I'll just add that
Thank you.
this chart, it looks daunting, doesn't it? Like how you can raise that kind of money. And our hope still is to break ground on this project in somewhere in 2025, before the year of 2025 is over, so somewhere toward the end of 2026, early 2027, this could happen, if we can keep the fundraising going. I'm optimistic about this, especially because we're working closely on that $5 million donation, and there's a shot that that could happen sometime soon. If it does, we'll be really off and running. So, but you see, we have a lot of work to do, and Peter and I, again, would just love for you all to be thinking a little bit about, how can they do this? And if you have any bright ideas around who we should meet, who we should talk to in the community, that could get behind something like this or have some thoughts around that, that's kind of your homework assignment from us. Okay, so the next slide.
Yeah, so we've left packets for you here, but the next steps, if you haven't seen the Framingham facility in a number of years, it's gorgeous. We'd love to have you come out and reach out to Barb. We'd love to have you come for a tour. If you want to come see the site, we'd love to have you come up and see the site. Or on Thursday morning, and it's early, but it's worth it. Thursday morning, we have an event called our Marathon Community Breakfast, and it will be at the Sheraton at 7 a.m. on Thursday, and we're going to have some very special announcements about the project at that time. We're also honoring a couple key folks, a Team Hoyt duo, and also Zdeno Chara, who was a Boston Bruins hockey legend, will be there as well, along with many of our marathon dignitaries. Russ Hoyt will be there, Dave McGilvery, who I think you all know from the marathon, and many others. So it's a fabulous event.
Share a little bit about the 100th running in 26.2.
Yeah, so this year, I think many of you probably know, marks the 100th start in Hopkinton. We will also have at the breakfast Tim Kilduff, the founder of 26.2 Foundation. Tim will be presenting and recognizing that 100th start at the event. We'll have some other folks from the 26.2 Foundation as well. It's going to be a true morning of celebration. And if you can make it, it's really good. So I left my business card here. If you think there's a chance you want to go, just take my card and send me a quick message.
I think you get a sneak. Kelly Grill from the Center for the Arts is also working with us to give a sneak peek to some of the art that's being produced right now. What is it called exactly? It's the winged foot. The winged foot, and our co-chair Vizzy Tilak is one of the artists who's doing one of those. So that's a nice connection too. So again, it's an early morning. There is no registration fee. This is really about fundraising and sharing the Y story. We'll have about 300 people in attendance, and we still have space. So if you're interested, let Barb know, and we can get you registered very easily.
So we did want to leave time for questions about the facility, or about the Y in general. The last thing I will share, though, and I love how things come back around together. So the developer who donated the 12.5 acres of land to the YMCA for the new regional Y was family friends with the Fitz family, who 60 years before donated the land for the Framingham Y. And I just love how things kind of come around. It's like it was meant to be. But we're incredibly excited. So I appreciate your time and appreciate you letting us in to speak to you in your meeting this morning.
So any questions?
Thank you.